IYKYK, which obviously YD. Okay?
Toucher and Hardy, mornings on the Sports Hub.
Which brings me, though, to my two stats and a lie. Two of these stats are obviously the truth. One is a lie. Some imaging with this would be fun.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's a Toucher and Hardy program. 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's a big day for the station. The guys are at the Hoosier Caddy Classic. It's at Brook Meadow Country Club. The whole station is there in Canton. It's a good time. Great cause. All proceeds today benefit the Special Olympics of Massachusetts. And so we're going to hear from an insider. We're going to hear from a special insider on the course later in the show. Don't know who it is, but I know it's somebody who's going to be playing, who's going to have information. We talked about gossip in the first hour, media gossip, station gossip. We're going to have somebody who's going to tell us all that good stuff. But before we get there, two stats and a lie from Andrew Callahan. What have you cooked up this morning?
Well, I told you before the show you escaped a Michael Holley edition of Two Stats and a Lie, which we've done here in the offseason.
Okay.
You know, every football season, every Tuesday, I bring two Patriot stats. I make one up. The guys guess. In the offseason, we've done a Fred edition. We've done a show edition, some Sox, some Celtics. Today, there's some Patriots and some Sox and a little of the NBA. Okay. So you will play. Beaton will play. Nick, are you in?
He said he's in.
All right.
All right. Fantastic. So you have played once, I believe, Michael Holley.
Yes. I did not do well.
No. Very confident, though, off the top. Cocky.
Yeah.
Some might remember.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did not go well.
Very humble today. I expect to lose.
Arms are crossed, hunch forward a little bit. The body language is not.
Yeah, I'm just down.
Are you trying to do the opposite
down.
thing?
I don't feel good.
Okay.
Don't give me the ball, coach. I don't feel good. Don't hit it to me. Don't hit it to me.
All right. We ready, Ryan?
Ready to go. You want another? We could throw another little piece in here.
Andrew has two stats.
Nick made 70 of these.
One lie. Andrew has two stats. Buddy has just one lie.
All right, play along at home. Two stats, one lie. Number one, this year, A.J. Brown is set to earn more cash in a single season than any Patriot in franchise history. Number one, this year, A.J. Brown is set to earn more cash in a single season than any Patriot in franchise history. Number two, since the start of the NBA playoffs on April 18th, the Red Sox have as many home wins as the Knicks do. Number two, since the start of the NBA playoffs on April 18th, the Red Sox have as many home wins as the Knicks do.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one.
Number three, according to the latest prices at SeatGeek,
okay,
it would be cheaper to buy tickets to every regular season and preseason Patriots game this year than to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight at MSG. According to SeatGeek, it would be cheaper to buy, this is 20 games, regular season and preseason, every Patriots game home and away, to go to all those games than to buy one ticket to Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Those are good. Those are all good. Can I start with, can we start anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right.
This is the overthinking portion of the game.
I'm not going to overthink it.
It's my favorite. Okay.
I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to say number 3 is true. That third one is true. What was it? And say that again, what that third one was?
According to SeatGeek, it would be cheaper to buy tickets to every regular season and preseason Patriots game this year than to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden.
But see, I think that needs context, though. So this is where the overthinking is, because what kind of ticket?
The cheapest ticket to every game.
Okay, yeah.
To get in the building.
I think that's true. I think the A.J. Brown. No. I think the Knicks one is true, and I think the A.J. Brown is a lie. So that's it. That's why I think the first one is a lie, and the next two are true.
So number one.
Yeah, number one is a lie. Next two are true.
I was going to go with that too because I believe the Red Sox stink, and I believe the Knicks tickets are really expensive. I don't know exactly how much money A.J. Brown's making, but I know those last two.
Do you want to know?
Probably true.
See, I can share.
Yeah. What is A.J. Brown making?
$29 million this year.
Yeah, I think that is lower than what I think Milton. For some reason, Milton Williams comes to mind.
So the reason I said cash is this includes salary, just bonuses, likely to be earned incentives, all that stuff that counts as like how much the Patriots expect to hand over in actual money.
Yeah, I think they handed over more to Milton Williams. I think.
In that case, if number one is true, then I could see two being the lie because I know Knicks tickets, no matter what, three has to be true because I feel like the Knicks tickets are just ridiculously expensive.
So this is where he throws you off. Hey, you know what, Jamelli, this is where he throws you off because he tries to he comes in and he says it because he's got the answer. He says the banker. The banker knows all. And so when the banker speaks, you start to question yourself. You start to quake. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, what? But he said that. He wouldn't have said that if that were true. And then you start to it get you in the maze. It gets you in this. It gets you in this blender. He should have been a Did you major in psychology? You probably did. You probably loved psychology classes. So it was like your minor, wasn't it? It was.
Do we have a cut of me saying this is the overthinking portion of the program and then being dismissed immediately? And you're right, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
See, I want to tell you, it's just like this guy is like you go to you said you wanted some therapy help. You're the therapy guy. You go into therapy, and then people just start telling you things, and then they start to wonder, am I saying enough? Do I need to say more?
Is that not being a reporter, though? Should I have said this? Is this true? Tell me more.
That's true. Yeah, keep going.
Go on.
No, you're doing great. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right. See you next Tuesday.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Same time, same place.
That's right.
All right, Nick.
Just to recap, you're choosing the Red Sox, correct, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll go two.
Okay. All right. I think I'm going to go with two, but I want to take three because it's so crazy. It's so much like it's so expensive right now to buy a ticket right now. But is it that much more expensive? So and there's a strategy to it too. So maybe I'll go with three just to pick, just to go with
just to switch it up a little.
You guys are playing zone on me.
Okay,
yeah.
Somebody's got to be right. I'm rooting for my teammates. Against the machine. You, the machine.
The machine, the banker?
You're the machine, the banker, who's got all the information.
The evil shrink over here?
That's right. You know all. You've got the answer.
Senor Paraguay. All right. Michael has one. Ryan has two. Nicholas is taking three. Drum roll, please. The answer is number one. Michael Howie got me.
Oh!
And Milton Williams is the exact right man to know. So A.J. Brown this single season, all of these numbers according to Spotrac, by the way.
Okay.
So if you have an issue, talk to Spotrac.
Don't talk to me. Talk to Spotrac.
A.J. Brown set to earn $29 million in cash this season. Milton Williams, mostly thanks to that signing bonus last year, $31.4 million.
Just barely beat him out.
How about this? There was one other player, Patriots franchise history, more than Tom Brady ever made in a single season, according to Spotrac. There was one player who made more than $29 million last year. So this would be the second highest paid Patriot in a single season, just one season, not total contract. This is harder than you think.
So there's one player who did this last year?
Yes, $29.24 million.
Wow. Would that be, did they overpay the handsy Carlton Davis?
No, but a good guess.
Okay. Very handsy. He's a very handsy guy. So handsy.
Is he handsy?
Just keep your hands to yourself, Carlton. Please. They could call pass interference on every single play with Carlton Davis. Every single one. It's harder than you think. So it had to be, you got any guesses, Ryan? Harder than you think. It's got to be, it's not Harold Landry. They didn't pay Harold Landry that kind of money, did they?
Nope.
I'm trying to think. Milton Williams was obviously the first player that came to mind when you said the original stat, but now I'm trying to think who else made that much money.
So you keep bringing up Carlton Davis being handsy. What if I said less hands, more arms? What if you're thinking more about the arms?
Okay. Was it Morgan? No, not Morgan Moses. Arms.
Warmer.
Push.
Warmer.
Okay. Arms.
I'm just going to leave us hanging like this.
No, it's not Will Campbell.
It is.
What?
The number 4 overall pick.
What?
With that signing bonus.
Did he really?
Salary likely to be earned incentives earned $29.24 million last season. Yep.
Now let's talk about the value of, what did they get for that $29 million last year?
Well, that's just year one of that contract.
Oh, wow.
How much was his bonus?
We can get into that, and I'll tell you in a second. But just to wrap on the other two.
Yeah.
The Red Sox have 6 home wins since April 18th, which was the start of the NBA playoffs. The Knicks also have 6 home wins.
I was going to say, the Knicks is not as high because I start to struggle on that because I'm writing down because they had 2 in Philly, against Philly, 2 against Cleveland. But Atlanta beat them once.
At home.
To
extend the series.
Yeah.
And they beat them in Game 5 at home. So they had 2 against the Hawks, 2 against the Sixers, 2 against the Cavs. And then according to SeatGeek, so we just looked this up in the break, prices have come down from $11,000 to just over $5,000. If you want to get it just into Madison Square Garden, 1 ticket, $5,000. Here you go. If you wanted to buy the cheapest ticket to every Patriots game and preseason, regular season, preseason, it would be just shy of $4,000. That's 20 football games.
That's unbelievable.
For $4,000 according to SeatGeek, and you want to go to 1 basketball game for $5,000.
And I could understand it in a different era. But now you have everything. Everything's on TV. Everything. You can find it. You can get it. You can, as a matter of fact, even if you don't get inside, I know they're not going to do it tonight because the president's going to be there, but usually they have these little watch parties and, got the whole crowd. Let's say you want the crowd experience, but you don't want to pay thousands of dollars. You can hang out with like-minded Knicks fans and have a good time.
Yeah, go to a bar.
Why are you doing
You
this?
know what you do instead? Run up a $5,000 bar tab.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
And
you could try, and you probably still couldn't run up a $5,000 bar tab. You could say, "Hey, drinks for everybody, shots for everybody," and it still wouldn't be $5,000. Anyway, speaking of basketball, Gary Washburn of the Globe is going to join us next on Toucher and Hardy.
Big show on the way.
Need a little help getting started in the morning?
It's very dangerous.
They've got the experts.
So, no.
Toucher and Hardy.
No.
On the Sports Hub.
Welcome back to Toucher and Hardy. Michael Holly and Andrew Callahan. And for the guys who are golfing today, we'll have some more info on that later in the show. But for now, Andrew, it seems like 5 years ago, it seems like ancient history. We were looking forward to this great showdown in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It was going to be the Celtics and Knicks with the winner going on to the NBA Finals, and this is clearly going to be a 7-game series. These teams are so evenly matched. No. No. Celtics lose at home in Game 7 to Philly, and the Knicks are on a 13-game winning streak. To help us make sense of this, Gary Washburn of the Globe. And I guess, Gary, I'll start with this. What have you learned about the Knicks that maybe you didn't know at the beginning of April or in the middle of April?
Well, Mike, I think what we envisioned for them, best case scenario, has finally come together. I think when you look at this team and you see that they paid $210 million for OG Anunoby, they acquired Karl Anthony Towns, they spent 5 first-round picks on Mikal Bridges. for the express purpose of guarding Tatum and Brown. They were able to get the amazing bargain on Jalen Brunson. Josh Hart, has just been such a valuable player. Like, all the guys that they put together, were a capable, very good team. They just never played like it. And obviously last year against Indiana, they fall in the Eastern Conference Finals. They after beating the Celtics, and this year they just kind of stumbled throughout the season. I think they lost 9 of 11 at one point, and it just looked like here come the same old Knicks. But something was found in that Game 4 against Atlanta, and they've become the team that everybody kind of feared they would be. And under Mike Brown, who obviously is not the most decorated coach, he's been fired multiple times. He's never won a title. There was a lot of doubts about him, but for some reason, it's all come together. And I think if you look at a potential Celtics-Knicks series, you would have had to have picked the Knicks easily. I think the Celtics would have gotten a game or two in that series, but the Celtics probably weren't prepared for this Knicks team as we see now.
So, Gary, I'm glad you mentioned Mikal Bridges in the context of that giant trade, which was much maligned, as I understood it, in New York, for especially early in the playoffs when he's struggling in parts of the regular season, as being specifically to guard the Jays, because that's exactly what it was. They understood they had to go through the then reigning champion Celtics to win the East, which obviously took another year, but here they are. And I look at this finals, and I've discussed this with Michael, being like, Cat at this version of a more disciplined defender, a playmaking hub, particularly in and around the elbows. Like, that's a guy now, if I'm the Celtics in this offseason, I have to tweak my offseason plans because we have to go through them. What, if anything, do you think this does to their plans and how they need to tweak their roster, knowing the level that the Knicks have reached, specifically going up through Karl Anthony Towns?
I think what we've learned, Andrew, is that depth is important if you look at both of these teams. And I think the Celtics took a step back, obviously salary-wise, with moving on from Porzingis and Horford and Cornette and Drew Holiday because they had to get another second aid. I think we all know their salary issues. But I don't know how much you can depend on, the likes of a Jordan Walsh or Baylor Shireman. And it's good, solid players, but if you look at the Knicks, you look at the Spurs, like, their depth is what stands out. They can go 10 deep. The Knicks have a Landry Shamet that they found kind of off the street. Jordan Clarkson, who's not really even playing in this series. Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride. Like, they have guys who could probably start for other teams at coming off the bench and playing 13 minutes. And I think the depth thing is what the Celtics are going to have to learn. They're going to have to fortify their roster with more talent and more athleticism. I think that's the big lesson from the Philadelphia series. It's a big lesson from watching the finals. You need wings. You need athletic wings. You need guys who can do multiple things. You need guys who can not only shoot, but they can defend. You can't fill your roster with a bunch of kind of streaky three-point shooters and expect to get past any part of the playoffs. So I think that's what they've learned. I think Brad was very honest in his season-ending press conference in terms of assessing the roster, looking and saying, "Damn it, we need to get more athletic. We need to get better, defenders. We need to get overall. We need kind of I wouldn't say complete overall, but you need to reassess the roster because today's NBA, if you look at some of the teams, and even the teams that didn't make the finals, even the Minnesotas, and even the other some of the other teams who are upcoming, they're loading their roster with athletes, wings, and legitimate fives. I don't know how much you can get away with Anemi Keita. You've got to fortify that position too. So they just need I'd say a mini overhaul.
So I think before the Philadelphia series was over, you wrote a blazing column going at Joe Mazzulla. You talked about his stubbornness and how it was working against him and working against the Celtics. So let's play a game here and say Joe Mazzulla was not stubborn. And the Celtics did what a lot of fans wanted them to do, and they played the way they wanted them to play. How far would that team have gone? I mean, would the Celtics be where the Knicks are today if not for their play style?
That's a stretch, Mike. I think they obviously win the Philadelphia series. I think this team probably loses to the Knicks in 6. And I think if this team ran into this current Knicks team and they lost in 6, I don't think Celtic fans would be so disappointed about the season because they took a step back and they were playing with less talent. They didn't have the veteran talent. And you say, okay, they took a hit this year to get under the second apron, but now everything resets and now you prepare for the coming years, and now you get the vets in here and you draft well and you develop some of your other talent. You probably move on from a couple of other players. So I don't think that this team, if Joe coaches this team, quote unquote, right, or they take fewer 3-pointers, they get to the NBA Finals. I think that there was a talent issue in comparison to some of the other teams, especially the way the Knicks are playing now. I think as a Spurs fan, that the Knicks are a team that you just can't shake. They just keep coming. And that Jalen Brunson, to me, is just is an incredible. He's a killer. He's just incredible.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, so to me, I think the Celtics, their ceiling was probably the Eastern Conference semifinals and probably taking the Knicks deep into a series.
Gary, I asked Michael earlier to therapize me as someone who is a lifelong New Englander, Boston fan, who likes this Knicks team a whole lot. And I got to tell you a reason that I am pulling for the Knicks very slightly here in this series is that I have a little bit of anxiety around the future of basketball, not like this big way that the sport is going to go south, but Victor Wembanyama feels inevitable. So the idea that he might have to wait another year for a championship and go through what you would say is the traditional means of superstardom where you get bloodied on the way up to the top and you have to climb the mountain all over again is encouraging to me. Am I right to think that given how good he is now, maybe the best player in the world, if they don't win this year, the Spurs still could win 3, 4, 5 of the next 10 championships? Like, am I getting ahead of myself, or is he that good and this team is that young and precocious?
I think he's that good, and I think even if the Knicks win this series, which they probably should, they won't be favored to win the championship next year. I think once the odds are laid out, I don't think the Knicks will be at the top of that, whatever betting sites you look at in terms of odds to win the 27 title. The Spurs will probably be favorites. So I think that teams are going to have to prepare for this Spurs team in terms of the future. However, like Oklahoma City, like a lot of young teams that were put together, they got to pay all these guys eventually. And they're going to have to supermax. I think that's probably the biggest no-brainer in the history of the NBA is supermaxing Victor Wembanyama. But you're also going to have to do that eventually to Dylan Harper. You're also going to have to do that to other players. You're going to have to pay them. And unfortunately, with this cap situation and the way the CBA has gone in terms of preventing dynasties, it gets tougher to keep these teams together. So you can't say, oh, the Spurs are going to win 5 of the next 6. They'd have to get really fortunate, and they'd have to do some roster management to do that. But they will be favored after this experience, especially, to probably come back and win it next year. And then you've got to consider Oklahoma City will be in that conversation, and then there'll be teams like Minnesota. There are teams coming. That's the thing. This whole anti-tanking thing now is interesting because now no one's going to tank. So the regular season next year is going to be a minefield. It's going to be difficult for teams to win as easily as they did in the past because now tanking has just kind of been eliminated.
Gary, sticking with Wemby for a quick second. Let's say stubborn Joe Mazzulla says F it when the Spurs are in town next season. He says, Gary, I've had enough. Here's the clipboard. You draw up our defense. So I get to sit in your chair after this game and ask you questions. What have you learned from watching Victor Wembanyama that, this would be Gary Washburn's game plan against him? Clearly the Knicks have had success, but there's no Karl Anthony Towns on their bench. What would you do? What do you think can work against the 7'4" alien who, again, might be the best player in the world already?
Well, you get him away from the basket, you make him take jumpers. That's pretty much it. He doesn't have a patented shot yet. I think that's the one thing that we're seeing, that he doesn't have that that last shot of game 2, like he took a fadeaway 20-footer. I mean, I was there in San Antonio this year where the strategy was let Victor take threes, and the Celtics did that, and he hit 8 of them. And you're like, Christ, if he ever becomes like it was like what we said about Giannis for years. If Giannis ever shot the 3, he'd be completely unstoppable. But Giannis never learned to really shoot the 3. Victor will, but I think you've got to use kind of his lack of physicality against him, push him outside, make sure he doesn't dominate the paint, make sure he takes a bunch of mid-range jumpers. And if he masters that, and he masters a 3, and he gets a go-to move, I mean, he's still got a lot of work to do. He's only 22. So this is a player who, by 28, could just literally own the league. Well, so there's a lot of work to be done, but he's still so, impressive that you look and you're like, wow, he could be he's going to be the face of the league for many reasons. But you look and just go, this guy could be just the most unstoppable player we've seen in 30 years. I'd say since Jordan. But if I'm Joe Mazzulla, right now you force him away from the paint and make him take those 20-footers, the ones he missed at the end of game 2. That's how you neutralize him.
All right, this is my last one for you, Gary, and I got to go back over other Zip 2 deficits where I was convinced it was over. So I remember Dallas going up 2-0 on Miami and thinking it's over. And there were some commentary, you may remember this. Hey, this kid, Dwayne Wade, he's overwhelmed by the finals. And then he goes off and has a bunch of 40-point games, and he's the finals MVP. I was convinced it was over. Phoenix goes up on the Bucks 2-0. And I remember talking to Charles Barkley at the time. I said, it's over. I said, your Phoenix Suns are going to win the championship. He said, you know better than that. It's only 2 games. And I know this is 2 wins at home, but why would this be different? Or is this different? Is this, hey, they're up 2-0, they're going home, and this thing is over. The Knicks are going to win. Tell me what you see here.
I still see a competitive series. The 2 games have been close. The Spurs, you could say, theoretically have blown both games. Now, if they get away from home and they just play loose and more of comfortably in this environment, tonight would be a madhouse. I don't think we've ever seen the Garden this way. I mean, it's been 27 years since they've hosted a finals game, and that was an 8-seeded team with, the Spreewells and the Marcus Camby's against the kind of the powerful Spurs. Like, this is going to be a little different because the Garden's a Garden. But if the Spurs play with some looseness, they can very easily get themselves back in this series. I don't think this series is over. Obviously, if they lose tonight, it's over. But if they punch and they get the Knicks feeling slightly insecure, and they get game 3 in an impressive fashion and come back and try to sneak game 4, then it's anybody's series again. So I don't think it's over. I think the Spurs are. I mean, they won twice at Oklahoma City. I mean, they can win on the road, but they've just got to put together a consistent game. And guys who have not appeared and played very well in the first 2 games have got to step up and respond. The Keldon Johnsons, the Vassell's, no more boneheaded plays. I mean, they've got to play like a poised team.
All right, Gary, real quick. Joe Mazzulla is on this tour from Omaha, Nebraska, working out with Baylor Shireman. He's in Portugal with Nimi Keita. Let's say you have 1-week trip booked with Joe Mazzulla, with whom you have famously butted heads on occasion. Where are you going, and what are you doing together? The 2 of you, this is non-negotiable. You have to hang out for a full week. Anywhere in the world in this trip that Joe's taking, where are you going?
I'm probably going someplace where, like in Michael, I know, like where Kung Fu went. The David Carradine character, where sometimes Mongolia, China, something like that, and sitting, crossing my legs and studying, and with incense in the air, something like that, where I could really get, and then practice Taekwondo, something like that, where I could learn get good at something I've never done before. Yeah, like that Kung Fu stuff, or that stuff that from the old series from the 70s, something like that, where some older guy is telling me all this great life philosophy that I can take and I can ingest. Me and Joe, and we're eating berries and stuff like that. That's probably my choice because it's something that I know Joe has, way more knowledge on me than me, and stuff that I can learn because I think I can learn a lot from Joe. And I think he's a brilliant guy. As much as we've had our differences in the past, he's beyond brilliant. So something I could do, something like that.
Let's make this happen. Let's get this happen. Joe and Gary on the road. I like the way you're thinking, Andrew.
Look, if people are going to watch Nesson and the Boston Globe today, Gary Washburn eating berries and wrestling Joe Mazzulla or doing karate. Joe's got the jiu-jitsu stuff. I think your guy Adam Himmelsbach has detailed that for us. Gary, I love this. I want this to happen this summer. Whatever it takes on our part at the Herald to make it happen, I will lend our support.
Read him in the Boston Globe. Gary Washburn, thanks for taking the time today, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. So the Knicks getting ready for Game 3 tonight at a very expensive, very excited Madison Square Garden. So we'll see what happens. Spurs-Knicks Game 3. We got more of the program coming up. And we'll take some phone calls, too. We'll take some phone calls from you guys. 617-779-0985. Toucher and Hardy. Next.
When it comes to the show, Hardy thinks the same way you do.
Nothing happened.
He's got the same questions.
Where is the story?
And the same opinions.
Boring.
And he's back with Fred on the Sports Hub.
The latest get-in price for the Knicks games is almost $11,000 for Game 3. $16,000 for Game 4, which if the Knicks were to win Game 3, Game 4 would be the clincher. $16,000 for the nosebleed seats.
Just to get in.
You heard it. That's what's going down tonight at Madison Square Garden. First NBA Finals game in New York since 1999. I was there. I remember it. It was the Spurs and the Knicks again. It was following the NBA lockout. So it was a 50-game season. The Knicks were the 8th seed, and they had, see if any of these names kind of resonate with you. They had Allen Houston.
Yep.
Larry Johnson, Grandmama, was on the team. He was a peach. He was not a pleasant guy to deal with. He was a bit of a jerk, actually. Spreewell.
Mm-hmm.
I think Charlie Ward may have been on that team. Camby. They didn't have Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was already gone. I think had been traded to Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. But it was not even – it was fun to be in New York City, but that was it. It was – they had the Spurs – all you need to know is the Spurs had Tim Duncan and David Robinson, and that was it. I mean, they had other guys on their team. I think Steve Kerr may have been on the team, Avery Johnson. They had a couple of coaches on the team, future coaches, Avery Johnson. They had a podcaster on this team, Steven Jackson was on that team too, I think.
What's that, All the Smoke?
All That Smoke, yeah.
This has been...
But the money, could you even imagine?
No.
Paying that kind of money for this game?
Well, first of all, as much as those were New York nostalgic names, anytime you want to play guys naming dudes of just, how about this guy from the 90s? You want to play that with me when you're asking, hey, do you remember Spreewell and Allen Houston? I'm always game. I'm game. It's the best bit. It's the best content around, guys naming dudes. Look, I was trying to think, what would I spend this money on? And I understand people listening to me now go, well, look, you have a press pass. You go to Patriots games. Of course, I wouldn't pay for things that people listening would pay. Patriots Super Bowl, you'd cough up $5,000-$6,000 because it's come down from the $11,000. And the only thing I could really land on for that amount of money would be if for whatever reason my now 7-month-old daughter went to high school and it became commonplace to charge for graduation prices. You know what I mean? It has to be a destination wedding.
To be there.
It's an obligation as well as something that I would love to be at, because if it's going to be on TV, man, and you want that much money from me, why don't I just go to a bar? Why don't I get closer there? I watched some of the Red Sox playoff games in 2021 at Cask and Flag and had a great time. You could hear Fenway across the street.
So by that standard, you say a destination or obligation? Obligation.
Yeah.
How about this in a sports context? And it's hard to imagine now because they've won since. But let's say if somebody said to you, I guarantee you got a really good shot in 2004. You got a really good shot of seeing the Red Sox. We get you if you can go to St. All you got to do is get yourself to St. Louis, or we'll get you to St. Louis for free, but you got to pay $5,000 or $6,000 to see the Red Sox clinch their first World Series in 86 years. Ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it. All right. Would you pay $5,000 or $6,000 to see something that your parents and your grandparents and your great grandparents never saw?
So you almost had me there, because I think that's the perfect example of like peak moments that you would say, even more so than Patriots Rams in the Super Bowl. The issue is, and this is also the beauty of sports, you could buy tickets to Game 4. Like, and this is the same thing if people want to pony up $16,000. We just heard it for Knicks Spurs on Wednesday. What did they lose? Like, you just spent all this money and your kid didn't graduate, or the concert played all the songs that you hate, and you went there and it wasn't necessarily what you thought it was going to be. And again, that thrill and that uncertainty, again, why we like sports. But for that historic moment, I would have to get multiple tickets. Now, you would go, would you pay $5,000 for games 4 and 5? Because I think it was still 2-3-2 back then.
Yeah, back in the day. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then I might say yes.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And you mentioned losing an NBA Finals game. When I heard your update on the Celtics, I meant to mention this to you earlier. The anniversary of the 1986 Celtics winning that championship over the Rockets.
Mm-hmm. Game 6.
That team lost one game at home. One game the entire year.
The regular season.
And postseason.
Oh, okay. Oh, 2-3-2. Yeah.
They lost one game the entire year at home. So there's some NBA stats where you go, oh yeah, I can see that one being broken. I mean, I can't see the 73 wins being broken by the Warriors in 2016. It was 73-9, and yet they lost the championship. I can't really see that being broken. The Celtics, I think, were 50-1. If you put it all together between the regular season and the postseason at home. And back in the day, they'd have a game or several games at the Hartford Civic Center, playing at the mall where the Whalers play. It was like a mall.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, right.
Still there.
So they play at the Hartford Civic Center. That's a home game. They win those, and they lost one game the entire year. So now, if you put those two together, if you can time travel a little bit, if you can make the 2026 Knicks the 1986 Celtics, and you got a game at Madison Square Garden, and you're going to get a win for the first finals game of the 21st century at Madison Square Garden, I can talk myself into it. I might be able to talk myself into that.
But then remember the two stats and lie. If I put on the table on one side, Patriots season tickets, and it's hard to say because in this case you're a Knicks fan. You want to go to the Jets and Giants every Sunday? You want Jets season tickets versus Knicks game 3 and 4? Easy call. But on one side of the table, that's 20 games. Here you go for a little bit less than just the one here. And we'll call it Wednesday. I don't think you can choose the one over the 20, even though I understand the attachment and the history and the emotion. I'll say this too. Or do you think, because this MSG crowd has been hyped, oh my God, the fact that they are so expensive makes me think this will be more of a, uppity crowd. Like the guys who are screaming their lungs out from the 300s are just can't pay this, you would think, right?
You would think.
Yeah. This is not, I can say tea and crumpets crowd, but you know what I'm talking about. Like the Super Bowl crowd, right? Famously expensive, and it's a neutral site, okay, whatever. That crowd is never that electric because it's just filled with people
corporate,
who are corporate. They're chatting. They're there to be seen.
Fine. They like being there, but they're not really passionate about it. Their team loses, team wins. It doesn't really affect them. It doesn't. Yeah,
that's what I think.
Throw them off.
This might be an advantage for the Spurs.
Yeah, maybe it is. All right, come on. I got to get back on this clock. Got to get back to your headlines. I got to get closer to Doug Kyde, who's going to be coming on at 8:25. More of your phone calls, too, or any of your phone calls at 617-779-0985. Toucher and Hardy. We got more coming up right after this.